Hi everyone, welcome to my channel where December is the month of glitter. In today's step-by-step tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to create a fun, easy and very glittery snow globe painting. This tutorial is the third in a series of 4 glittery art and craft projects this month, and I'll put a link in the card above to the other glittery videos in case you've missed them or want to go and check them out. All of the art supplies I'm using today will be listed in the description box below if you want to go and check those out, and if you like this video please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. So today, because I'm using a canvas board for my glittery snow globe painting and didn't want to mess it up, I decided to paint a quick test piece, as you can see here, on a piece of paper first. In this way any issues or potential problems can be ironed out before you start on your canvas. Sometimes I get a picture in my mind of how I want a painting to look, but it doesn't always turn out that way in reality. So roughing out a few sketches or ideas beforehand can help you to figure out not just what you're going to draw or paint, but how you are going to tackle it. The canvas I'm using is a 10 by 8 inch canvas which has been pre-treated with a coat of gesso primer, which means that it's ready to paint on straight away. A canvas that hasn't got any primer on it will simply need a coat or two of acrylic paint or primer before you start. If you haven't got a canvas, don't worry, you can use a stiff piece of card or even the back of a cereal packet. So step 1 is to paint your canvas, making sure you protect your table with a piece of newspaper or, as I'm using here, a piece of leftover wrapping paper. I'm using acrylic paint today, which is really hard to get out of clothes, so you might not want to wear your best outfit for this one. To get the beautiful royal blue colour I wanted for the night sky background, I mixed up equal amounts of blue and purple on my palette. This is to cover the whole of my canvas, so you need to make sure you mix enough paint without going overboard. Acrylic paint dries pretty quickly, so it would be frustrating to have to mix up more paint halfway through the painting. Now I did slightly dampen my brush to help mix the paint and help it flow across the canvas, but don't add a lot of water as it will thin the paint too much and you won't get that rich, even coverage over the surface of your canvas. To apply the paint to the canvas I used a flat brush just because it's easier, but you can use whatever brush you have. The bigger the brush though, the more quickly and evenly your paint will go on. So once the canvas is completely dry, we are ready for step 2, and that is to draw on the snow globe. For this I'm drawing around a plastic bowl with a white Prismacolor colouring pencil. You may need to go round a couple of times to make sure the pencil lays down evenly all round the circle. I also used the same bowl to add some curved lines inside the circle, which will help the snow globe to look like a 3D globe or sphere and not just a flat 2D circle, but we'll add more detail to that later. Once this is done, we're ready to start drawing the little snow scene inside the snow globe, and again I'm using my white colour pencil as it shows up well on the dark background. With the snow at the bottom of the snow globe, I made sure to leave a gap between the line of snow and the edge of the globe. Next I'm going to draw in the base of the snow globe, which I'm deliberately keeping quite simple as I'm going to be filling this in with glitter. For the curved edges I use my circular bowl again to try and make it even, but you can do it freehand or even design something a bit more elaborate if you wish. With this done, I went on to draw the outline of a polar bear inside the snow globe, and again I kept this pretty simple as I was going to add paint and glitter later on. I thought it would be nice to draw the polar bear from behind and have him looking up at the starry night sky, so started sketching out a large circle shape for his behind with a few semicircles coming off the side for his body and head. I added some rectangle shapes for his feet and then joined it all together with curved lines to create my finished polar bear outline. I finished up the sketching part by adding in a couple of rough fir trees and a few sparkly stars. And again, they don't have to be too perfect because we're going to cover them up with glitter later on. So now we're all ready for step 3, and this is the fun bit, adding paint and glitter. As I've done previously, I'm going to be using my acrylic paint as a base colour and glue for the glitter, and so far it's worked really well. You do need to make sure though that you add the glitter to the paint while it's still wet, or it won't stick. I was also careful here to leave a gap between the snow and the edge of the globe to make sure it looked like the snow was actually inside the globe. So whilst the acrylic paint was still wet and working over a paper plate to try and minimise mess and save glitter, I took the glitter onto the wet area of paint and tapped off any excess. I also like to use a small dry paintbrush to brush away stray persistent bits of glitter and neaten up the edges, as glitter doesn't always behave itself, but this method does seem to work pretty well to keep those sneaky sparkles under control. Next, it was time to add paint to our polar bear, followed by a healthy covering of glitter as we did for the snow. I work sections at a time like this, firstly because I only have a fairly short amount of time after painting an area before the paint begins to dry and the glitter won't stick, but also so I can prevent different colours of glitter mixing together when you go to tap off the excess. It's not too much of a problem today as mostly the glitter, or snow, is white, but it would be more of an issue if you were using different coloured glitters, like I did on my glitter rocks last week, where I mixed red and green on the same piece. So working different sections at a time and waiting for paint layers to dry in between helps to minimise the unwanted mixing of different coloured glitters. It is also important when tapping off excess glitter to tap away from areas that are already glittered. In this way you can simply use your dry brush to brush off unwanted areas, and you don't have to worry about trying to separate glitter that has fallen into areas where you don't want it to. Moving on to the trees, and I had in mind the idea that I'd put snow on the branches and then fill in with a green glitter glue for the leafy stems underneath the snow. So I repeated the same process for the second tree, adding white acrylic paint, followed by a healthy dose of glitter, being careful to tap the glitter away from the rest of the already glittered and painted areas. It's looking pretty sparkly. But now to add some more sparkle with some stars, and for the stars I used the same process, applying the white paint, but decided to go for some silver glitter for this one instead. Then I went back to the trees to add that green glitter glue that I spoke of, and applying this was really easy as you can just apply it directly from the tube using the precision tip, but it does take a lot longer to dry than the acrylic paint. So the last piece of my snow globe painting to glitter was the base, and for this I chose to use a lovely sparkly gold glitter. Leaving this area till last meant that the gold glitter was less likely to mix with the white, and I was actually a bit undecided as to whether or not to do it silver, but I was really glad I chose gold in the end because it was so glittery and contrasted really well with the bright blue background. So with all the glittering done, the next step for our snow globe was to add in some falling snow, and for this I used a fine white Posca paint pen. I also gave the polar bear a black nose and eye using a fine point black fine liner. The last and final step was to add some detail to the reflections on the surface of the snow globe that we marked out at the beginning. For this, I thickened up the lines I'd marked out using my white pencil and tried to blend them out gradually. Then I added a last touch of white gel pen to the brightest areas of the reflections, and my glittery polar bear snow globe was finished. I really had lots of fun doing this one, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you liked the video and found the step-by-step tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and let me know in the comments how you got on if you did try this at home. Have a wonderful holiday, and I'll look forward to seeing you for the last of our glitter themed art month next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.